All right, welcome back to another episode of Thoughts in Stereo. Feels good to be back in the studio. I think we've all been quarantined a little longer than we would have liked to, or locked down rather. But today we have Mr. Jay Sentry with us.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Off the bat.
Right,
what do you do?
It. Tell us.
I'm from Montreal.
Okay.
And I make beats. I make music.
What genre?
I do a little everything. I really do. I'm kind of keys based. So really just like pop, R&B, anything cool, experimental.
Yeah.
Dancehall. I had a little dancehall.
There you go.
Nice.
Afro.
There you go.
Just whatever.
You're just a passionate man of music.
There you go. Yeah.
But no accent.
No Quebec accent, no.
Do you live in a little... I've heard there are little pockets in Montreal and just outside of... in Quebec and just outside of Montreal where there's...
English communities,
It's a complete English community.
Yeah.
That's, of course...
I'm from there.
What's the name of the actual place?
There's like Westmount,
Right.
NDG,
Right.
Hampstead.
Interesting.
So like west of Montreal. The more east you go is definitely more French. More French, yeah.
But you speak French then?
I have an accent. I don't like practice all the time. I don't have like all the French friends, but I understand it perfectly and I could speak a little French.
Yeah.
Do you find that that's challenging living in Montreal with speaking, like sounding like you're not from there, but like sounding more English?
I don't think so. Maybe some people would disagree, but I think you just get by.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I've always heard, like, when you're younger and, like, you're from Toronto and you want to go on a trip with your friends to Montreal and you turn 18, people are always like, oh, they hate people from Toronto because the accent. We don't have the accent. They hate us from Toronto.
I mean,
and you always think that, but it's not, like, a real thing.
No, it's not like that. It's not like
No.
Majority is French.
Yeah.
But the French people speak English. English people speak French.
Exactly.
Everyone coexists. So
Yeah.
good, yeah.
And you've obviously lived there your whole life.
Yeah. Born and raised.
So you're in Toronto now on a short trip to do some writing, co-production stuff. We're working later.
I'm with my buddy Dan. We're going to be celebrating his release tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's got a song with Afrojack coming out tomorrow.
Wow.
Really exciting stuff.
Yeah.
At the time of filming, of course. By the time this airs, the song will be
out
for many months.
Yeah.
That's fire, though.
Very cool.
That's
I
very
like
cool.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Good vibe, good
Do you
community
come
of
often?
artists. I try to, yeah. A lot more going on.
Do you find that you have to come from Montreal? Like there's not enough in Montreal, or it's like you've worked with a bunch of people in Montreal. You just need new faces.
I feel like it's a I don't want to say smaller, but very different community of artists and writers and people. But there's a big French scene in Montreal that I'm tapped into, and even English writers too. Toronto, I just feel like is more tapped into the industry of commercial music, popular music, a little more.
What was I about to ask? Quebec and Montreal got hit pretty hard, I think more so than Canada. With COVID.
Yeah.
How was that? How was kind of navigating through that?
I didn't really leave my house at one point.
Really?
But yeah, people were like partying, doing...
Do you think it was because that they were more lax about it?
Everyone's more lax, I feel like, in Montreal. It's very like...
European.
Yeah, big time. No one really cares about anything. Like,
wow.
I don't know. It's like kind of a...
Very nonchalant city.
Yeah, very nonchalant city about everything. Like people couldn't wait to go partying. And people say that Quebec is like the Florida of Canada.
Oh my God.
Just terrible.
In terms of COVID numbers.
numbers,
sure.
maybe.
Perhaps, yeah. That's so interesting. And so before, because you drove to Toronto.
Yeah.
Do you usually drive or do you take the train?
I drive.
Right.
Yeah, I've always driven.
It is an easy drive, isn't it?
I love it. It's quick. You do it in 5 hours.
5 hours.
Blast through. Yeah, stop at the en route.
Yeah,
some
exactly.
Burger King. It's great.
You feel every time you stop at an en route, you're like, I swear I stopped here last time. But it's just they're all identical.
All identical, yeah.
Burger King wouldn't be my first choice.
No, this is all you got. You got Tim Hortons.
Burger King and Timmy's.
I know.
And the convenience store.
It's true.
There you go.
I do find that the drive... I recently, as you know, was in Montreal. I had never driven there before. That was my first time. It was my... what I want to say second time really staying in Montreal. First time I flew. And I found the drive to be, like you said, you're with people and it was like a snap. It was so pleasant.
Especially if you got your favorite podcast.
Oh, yeah?
You can listen to your favorite podcast.
Give me a break. This guy's a monster.
For anyone who doesn't know, he's talking about the great Thoughts in Stereo.
I want to ask you, and I think I've asked you this before, how many people tell you that you look like a young Mike Dean?
Oh, I get that all the time.
I don't even know what Mike Dean looks like.
Well, it's this guy.
I don't smoke weed too much anymore. But if I definitely smoked weed, everyone would keep giving me those Mike Dean comparisons.
Do they? I was not the first person to say that.
Hell no.
I find that
people
so
call me Montreal's like Mike Dean because I'm doing the keys. I'm on the synths. It's like what I'm known for. And
Jay is a wizard.
Is he?
I've been playing keys for a very long time.
That was my next question.
Wizard.
Yeah. How long have you been playing?
I started classical piano when I was 7.
How old do you know?
28.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like 21 years.
Pretty much, yeah.
And have you been like, it's like that is like one of the main things across your life that you've just been consistent with?
Consistent. My parents were super adamant of me practicing every single day.
Really?
7 days a week, 1 hour a day, like intense.
Yeah.
And I had Russian teaching. It was a lot.
There you go.
I fell out of love with
Jesus.
it when I was in middle school, starting high school.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Did you get back into it because of production?
Yeah. Like, what was tell us the progression there.
Right. Well, pretty much I just started slacking towards the end of high school, and I couldn't really get into any like good programs like a health sciences or something like that. But so we found a jazz music program we have CEGEP in Montreal, so it's like kind of like a purgatory school between high school and university.
Interesting.
They kind of throw you in there for 2-3 years. You can get a technical degree, you can get a diploma. So, and I had just known classical music, but I was into this jazz program. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
And I took private lessons for 2 months learning jazz music, kind of going from solfege, like, letter based, like ABC, to jazz, which is like all in numbers. It's like 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And like sharp 4,
Yeah.
all those extensions. So that was cool. And then I got in the program. I did it for 4 years. It's quite challenging. And I practiced my ass off doing jazz music.
So
day.
what was like, okay, so between the point where you fell out of love with it, like you said, middle school, to that, what had changed?
I think it was really the fact that I needed a plan after high school, and I needed a program to attend to.
Maybe a bit of a necessity kind of thing.
Yeah, and I was just kind of like, my mom actually found this program. She's like, they offer this jazz program, and you can get in and study jazz piano.
Uh-huh.
So I went, and I was doing a lot of performance then. I was doing all these concerts and stuff when I was younger.
Sure.
So I said, why not? And then I kind of started in jazz performance, and then switched to composition when I realized that like I kind of like to write. My dad had gotten a Mac, a super old Mac, and I was using GarageBand.
Oh, really?
Nice.
And that's how I started on the keyboard. A lot of people start like that.
And so, wow, that's actually so you did the jazz program.
Yeah.
And then so how did that kind of so after the jazz program, then what?
I was actually already working at a studio.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, kind of making beats and selling beats to like local guys.
Oh, there you go.
At that point, I was towards the end of that stint doing jazz music. I had switched DAWs, so I had started off in GarageBand, and I went to Reason 4.
Of course.
Then I did Reason 5.
Of course.
And then I realized that there's this whole thing called mixing, and like, I needed to mix my music.
Of course.
And then I got to Logic.
So you've landed and you've stayed on Logic.
Now I'm on Ableton.
Oh, so
Damn
you really
right.
went through the motions.
I know all the DAWs, honestly. Yeah.
It's crucial to know.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
you
great
can
to
take
know.
you can take knowledge from each place.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Do you release your own music right now?
No, I don't.
You're focused on production.
I'm focused on production. I'm focused. I love working with artists. I love having a finished body of work, and vocally driven. So, if I can't sing, but if I could sing, maybe I would release my own music.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. But I love getting a final product with a singer and like being a part of that and seeing that get realized. And yeah.
So you obviously, like as Nick was saying, you're a bit of a wizard on the keys.
He really is.
I'd care to see that.
One day.
One day, yeah, sometime soon for sure. What is your favorite kind of like? What's your work like? What do you like? Do you like starting on the piano with a vocalist and then building from there? Like, what's kind of the process like?
I think it's how I really feel. I think most of the time I start on the piano, start with a cool sound design as I go along, but it's how I feel. If I get a cool acapella, I'll make chorus of this acapella off the bat. And sometimes I like making drum loops, and I'll save them and throw them in. Ableton's a great workflow because I could just like drag and drop, no problem.
Yeah.
We have we work a lot together. Jay will make incredible like loops, like melodic loops.
Yeah, samples.
Samples. I'll slap some drums on it, and then it's a cool little like hip hop beat that we can pitch out. And I've even had songs where like I'm super stuck, and I just don't know what else to put in it. And I'll just send him the project. He'll add some fucking dope flares and.
Yeah. I'm trying to play a little guitar too.
Fire.
A little plug and play, punch and play.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And
yeah.
you said so you like to dabble in various genres.
Yeah.
Is there any one in specific that you like more than
I
the
lean
others?
towards R&B.
Do you?
I do. I don't know. I just every time I like I'm by myself, I always make these like very somber songs, like not a lot of high energy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I can make music longer when there's not so much drums going on. It's not too fast. It's not too crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really
It's less tiring, maybe.
less tiring. Yeah, I could go longer. It's just always what I fall towards.
That's interesting. Maybe it's because like you're so versed in like jazz,
Mm-hmm.
and like sometimes in R&B they have these like elaborate chords and whatnot.
Hell yeah, yeah. Very like a lot of jazz chords.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting. Like, I mean, I guess probably that's maybe why you lean towards it.
And
Yeah.
also, creating energy in songs is one of the hardest things to do. So when you don't have to worry about it, not necessarily you don't have to worry about it, but when you're working on an R&B song or an idea, it's very chill, and you're just like, okay, I can be super calm, I can be super laid back. I don't really have to worry about building the energy at a certain spot. I can just kind of let it flow, which is a really nice workflow to have too.
Do you so do you live by yourself in Montreal?
I live with my roommate Dan.
So who's here with you?
Yeah.
And do you have a studio at your place?
Yeah, we built a little room in the back. Perfect.
Really?
You got to come one time.
Oh, I would love to.
It's definitely fun.
Do you yeah, both of us. Have you
Yeah.
been?
No, I haven't been yet.
I'd love to go.
He's showed me a bunch.
I was talking to a few friends of mine about going to Montreal again before the end of the year. So
We caught a really cool spot. It was we got it in May. It was a crisis listing on Kijiji, and I found it like 3 a.m.
Oh my
crisis
god!
listing, as in like they needed it.
They needed a tenant in this apartment.
Really?
Yeah, it's great. 1,500 square feet.
And the patio,
1,500 square feet.
the patio where Dan does like the DJ sets.
yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
our private. We have a
that's
little
sick.
private terrace
Come
as well,
on.
and
Dope,
we do
yeah.
these live streams outside.
Where
It's
is it?
Wild. It's in Montreal and St. Henry.
Really?
area. Yeah,
Oh, so it's a really good area.
great area.
I gotta
on
get
the
out to
corner,
Montreal, man.
It's unbelievable.
Really?
We got lucky.
I would
Wow.
love to. I'm yeah. Next time I'm there, I'd love to stop
Definitely.
by.
Hell yeah.
I was gonna ask. Okay, so you work with a lot of artists in Montreal,
Yep.
and do you work with a lot of artists in Toronto?
Yep. Definitely.
What is there a difference?
A lot more R&B going on in Toronto.
Is that right?
Yeah, and a lot more of everything. It's so encompassing in Montreal. It's just you'll get everything. A lot of pop, a lot of experimental.
Really?
A lot of K-Tronada
Of course.
style music, right? So a lot of people also gear towards that, kind of making these like funky grooves. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, it's
Me
very
too.
cool.
I feel like in Toronto, it's very much like all the new artists that you start working with. It's kind of like an adaptation of whoever was biggest last year. It happens a lot in Toronto. And like, it's not a bad thing or anything. It's just like you can hear where inspiration's coming from. Where I feel like maybe in Montreal, it's a little bit more free and it's a little bit more like, not a lot of people would go for the K-Tronada kind of sound in Toronto.
Right.
You know?
I feel like maybe that's the case because Toronto is more connected industry-wise.
Yes.
So people are like more focused on doing an industry kind of thing, whereas Montreal, less eyes are on them. So like we could just do whatever we want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What kind of artist? What artist do you work with out in Montreal? Shout out time.
Shout out Nate Husser. He's fire. CJ Flemings.
There you go.
Why am I blanking?
Sarah
There's
Diamond.
So many artists. Sarah Diamond, incredible singer,
Really?
artist. I'm blanking.
Yeah,
There's
whatever.
so many.
There's so
I work
many.
with so many artists.
Do you have them come to your place or do you go to a studio?
It's been weird with COVID.
Right.
I'm still limited on the sessions that I'm doing.
Yeah, so with those people, is it all session based, or is it like some of them are like, okay, here's a bunch of beats, pick whichever one you want?
Yeah, sometimes I don't like to send out beats. I'd rather write in the
Naturally.
That's a big discussion I feel like we've had on the show a couple times, is like sending out beats versus being in the room with the artist. Obviously, being in the room with the artist is better, and sending out beats is a whole different ball game. But someone like me, I really don't know how to send out beats. I don't have, like, I can send packs to people, but it just seems like every time I do, it's either no answer or you get like one half-finished song back.
Exactly.
You know?
Is there a lot of studios in Montreal? Professional recording studios?
There's a few big ones. Like we got Planet Studios in the East End. That is like a lot of the out-of-towner artists come there. You'll get like a Little Pump, they'll come there and stuff like that. That's a premier studio. You got I think there's a lot more home studios in Montreal
Versus Toronto.
Yeah.
What are you heading towards? Like, what's your goal,
What's my goal?
for like, whether it's executive producing a project for an artist, whether it's finding your own artists and developing them, or
I'm developing this artist named Sun. She's incredible.
S-U-N?
S-U-N.
Sick.
And way more up my alley of music as well.
Of course.
And really excited to kind of like develop a project for her.
Excellent.
So yeah, definitely developing artists, and just, you know, I love just working and seeing what lands.
So that like, how did you find her? You found her just like off of...
We linked up through her manager had booked a session in a studio I was working at, Makeway Studios, and instantly we just like vibed.
Really?
Sick.
Instantly. And her manager came in, she saw that, you know, he saw that we were working really well together, and he goes, yeah, you too. And we was kind of earlier on, before we kind of like, I was like, we were at least honed and it all, we were kind of like still amateur a little bit.
Sure.
And we kind of like grew together. And she ended up moving out of Montreal. She lived in Chicago for a bit and then Miami. So
Oh, wow.
we had completed 5 songs, but, you know, she wasn't here for us to like kind of make more and have follow-ups. So, you know, now she's back. So now we're gonna keep
Super lock in.
super lock in, definitely.
That's fire.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's so fun, man. I feel like it's really fun to hone in on a project for one artist instead
Yeah.
of just singles. And I've
Definitely.
never done it except for with Brandon.
Right.
And you know, you're obviously a part of that, and it's kind of
That's
cool.
gonna be
You
great.
get to look at the whole project as one. And
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, this sounds like
curated
this
it.
sounds like a piece of time of my life, because
Yeah.
like you spent so much time doing that whole thing.
Right.
You know, you did the same thing with Tommy Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. Like, so, like with Sun, it's not even like I'm composing all the beats. I feel like, send me beats. Let's both of us
You're
create.
executive producing
Exactly,
it.
like kind of like create a you know, curate the sound for
Exactly.
for the EP.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing happened with me.
Right.
There was something I was going to ask. Damn. Oh, wow. That just really slipped my mind. It was something about that was something about your... Oh, no. You were working at a studio.
Yes.
How long was that you were working there?
Had to be a couple years.
And what were you doing?
Yeah, what were you
I
doing?
I had a room. I was making beats, and I was selling them pretty much for cash.
Really?
And I wasn't, you know, I wasn't even registered with any
SoCan or
pro,
none of that,
nothing
yeah.
like that. And it was really just cash based. We had all these guys coming in. I'd leave my door a little open. I'd be making a little beat, and they'd come in and they'd be like, "Yo, I want this beat."
That's jokes. It was literally just like that. Like people would just walk in and be like, "This is hard. I'll
Just
pay
like
you
that,
for
yeah.
it."
It was a recording studio, so a lot of people came for recording, and you know, I was just making beats at the time. I wasn't recording. I knew that there was a lot more I needed to learn and do, grow. So I needed to get my own space, and figured all that out on my own.
Was it important in your career, would you say, to be working at that studio?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a start.
Yeah.
Nice.
Definitely.
And how'd you get that in the first place?
It was me and my buddy, Brandon. We started in the studio. He was my neighbor growing up, and we had a bunch of studios. We bounced from studio to studio. It was great.
Right.
Yeah.
What were you going to ask?
Oh my god.
Did you blank too?
Oh my god.
I know,
Dude,
it's-
it was a great question too.
We're
What's going on right now?
we're both on one today.
Oh my
Are
god.
you actually don't- There you go. See?
Oh my, sorry. When you started producing,
Yeah.
I know you went through all the different DAWs. Was there anything you did to learn? Like,
Yeah.
did you have a mentor? Did you go to a certain website, like a Sonic Academy, stuff like that? Like one of these?
YouTube was big. I remember just like knowing that like how I'm gonna have to learn these DAWs is by just
using them.
focusing on these
Yeah.
boring ass videos.
Yeah.
And like getting through them. And you learn a large amount in a very quick time if you just focus on the video. So I'd stay up till like 4 a.m. watching tutorial videos for sure. I went through all that.
Really?
But I did that with Logic, so I became pretty good with Logic.
Mm-hmm.
And then my buddy Chase, shout out Chase Wave, he's one of my co-producers back home. He was on Ableton. And he was crazy with Ableton. I just saw the flow that he had on Ableton
Mm-hmm.
was just like, I knew I needed this flow.
Right.
A saying that we were saying is that your mind can't be faster than your pen. Like you have to be able to write faster than what you're trying to think.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
I can't do that with Logic.
I find that it was a lot of when I'm producing, I need to. It's like, you know, I need to throw it up. I can't just like I need to regurgitate it out.
Creative. Yeah.
Yeah, so I found that it was very slinky. It was like a lot of
Too many
dragging,
clicks,
a lot
too
of clicks. So with
yeah.
Ableton, it's like you can get a groove, you can get a vibe very quickly, and work from there. So I watched him, learned a couple of tricks from him, and then
I've been trying to convert Bijan.
Oh, give me a break.
I'm trying to convert everyone out of Ableton.
Never
Dude,
happening.
I
Never
tell him all the time. He's
It's
always
very
like,
similar
"Yeah,
to
you gotta
you're-
take a look at
you're
it."
an FL, right?
Yeah.
That's the one DAW I actually don't know. I can't get.
I felt it
I
was
can't
so
do it. I can't.
fast.
I can't get past that
Yeah.
first page
Right.
with the one bar. I can't get past that.
I just know the little loading sound. Ba-ding.
Bling. Yeah.
Makes you feel nice when you log in.
There
You're
you
like,
go.
"Oh,
Yeah,
a
it
minute."
feels good.
No, I'm never changing off FL. Well, no, I'll never say never, but
Well, you're learning Pro Tools.
yeah, I know.
For
I
tracking.
amateur. I could do
Yeah,
Pro Tools.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same. I could get by with recording, but that's about it.
I
Yeah.
used to be able to for a short period of time.
I feel like
I'm,
now
I'm pretty
most-
okay with it. Like
I can't do it.
I won't be like, yeah, some of your stems, I'll mix your whole thing. But
Right,
like,
no,
if you
no.
want to record a rough take or like a pretty decently mixed like recording,
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
get you recorded.
I just do it in Logic.
Yeah,
So-
I feel like most professional recording studios now they don't just have Pro Tools. They used to just feel like just have Pro Tools. You were
Yeah.
stuck.
Yeah.
if you didn't have
Yeah,
Pro Tools. Now they got Logic.
Logic Studio One. I know it's in
Studio
Logic
One,
Studio. Yeah.
Studio One is coming up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying it's like incredible for vocal production
Yep.
and all this.
Yep. That's
I
what
don't
I've
even know
heard.
what makes
Yeah.
a difference.
That's
I gotta
what
look
I've
it
heard.
up.
For Ableton, once you learn Ableton, you can do everything in the box. I do now all my vocals,
Yeah.
mix, and the master.
That's what that is another thing that I've heard.
Yeah.
Like Ableton is very like you could start and finish the whole thing.
Yeah, I find when I have a vocalist and I need to comp vocals or do a lot of takes, I'll fly it back into Logic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you can create take folders. So until Ableton creates,
I think they
take
said they're
folders,
coming.
They are playlisting.
I've heard for
then it's
years
going to be
now.
a game changer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was gonna let's just circle back really quick. Your parents or forced you to do the piano, or not forced you, or was that your interest?
I think I was interested at 7 years old,
Wow.
and then I hated the lessons. Obviously, it was torture. I mean, I would come home crying after these, and because I'd get hit in the back of the head. It was rough.
Oh, it was
abusive.
abusive.
A little abusive, yeah.
Christ.
And I remember just being so sad after, and so my parents would go and confront the teacher and Larissa, and she'd be like, why
are
is
you
my
talking-
son crying after
Yeah.
his lesson? She'd be like, oh, you know how kids are. He's lying and not doing anything. But I think my parents fully knew that there was some.
They're like, yeah, right, buddy.
Are you happy now?
Yeah,
Yeah, of
completely
course.
happy.
Because I'm
Shout out Larissa for changing my life.
I'm so mad at the fact that I fought my parents
Right.
so hard because they put me in piano lessons. I did one lesson, and I was like, I'm never
fought.
going
I'm
back. to
never
that
going
Oh, I
back.
fought too. I would cry,
I
bang on
did-
the keys. And
Really?
I
They
did-
were relentless. They still.
Your parents were.
My parents, yeah, they knew that.
I did
it was a
guitar.
discipline.
I did
needed
guitar
it.
lessons for like maybe a month,
Mhm.
and then after that, I was like, I'm never going back. And my parents would just be like, okay, if he really doesn't want to do it, he's not going to apply himself, and it's just going to be a waste of money.
Right.
So, but like,
Wow.
I wish so badly
Did
that
you
my
stay
parents
with
just
it?
forced me to do it.
It's never too late.
I know.
It's
Yeah,
true.
it really is, and we say that,
Yeah.
and I feel like a year ago on one of the episodes, I said like, "Oh, I'm gonna start learning piano," and guess what? Still haven't done it.
Oh,
Well, that's
but
the
like,
thing.
yeah,
It's the thing. Like you could
Yeah.
stay it right now. You start today, you'll be looking back in a year, being like, "Wow, I've improved so much."
Yep.
I know.
I think I was saying like I think I'm gonna start like learning the piano.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do like lessons. I think it's at this point it's not really exactly what I'll
Yeah.
get the most out of it.
Right.
I'd like to mix, like, I think that I found a really, really good YouTube channel. I forget the name of it right now, but, like, it's, like, very in-depth, very, like, hey, this is how you do this, that. I could send it to you.
There's an actual program that Ableton came out with. That's like a
Really?
lesson. Yeah, and it's like you open it up as its own app on your computer,
Oh, damn.
and it walks you through. Like it has all the lessons there. It reads your MIDI keyboard to tell you
Wow.
like you're
Shit.
doing it right or wrong. You should look into that.
I'm going to look into that.
Because
Super
I
dope.
did start that and never finished it, but I did
I need
start
that
it.
for guitar if there was a thing.
Yeah.
There is Fender Online.
Oh, so I bought a guitar
Yeah.
to learn guitar because I was like, I want
course.
to learn guitar. It's
Naturally.
cool. And I'm lacking. It gave me a free Fender Online thing. I haven't even started it. I'm just going on YouTube and learning Ed Sheeran
Yeah,
songs. Fingerstyle.
I think, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to sit down, because I have a keyboard, like a full-size keyboard at home. I think I'm just going to sit down and, like, mess around for, like, 30 minutes every morning to, like,
Yep.
get some kind of sense of timing and hand positioning before I even attempt to be
It's
like...
all about the scales.
It is.
You
I know
gotta
my
do
like.
the-
I'm not an like. I do know like.
You know how to play keys.
I know like. I'm not like you, but like I know basic theory. I know like what notes fit into what
Right.
scale. I understand that kind
Create
of stuff.
progressions, right?
Yeah. So I think I'm like okay, and that's why I'm like if I go to learn piano, they're like okay, here's the C major, and
Yeah.
like learn this and that. I'm like
I
hey,
was-
I understand
I
that.
had to put guitar, like a chic style guitar, into like some like funky song I was doing the other day, and I obviously can't play just the 3 bottom notes, so I took my mask and I wrapped it around the top 3 strings so that I don't hit them.
Oh wow.
And then you can just wail on it, and
That's
you're only hitting the
smart as hell.
And I did,
great.
dude. It works incredibly. I feel like I've gotten good now at just faking
faking the playing.
faking playing the guitar.
As long as it sounds good on the record, that's what matters.
Exactly, man.
Coming up, your parents, were they supportive of you doing music always?
Yeah, always supportive.
Always. There was never, and for you, was there ever like a, dare I say, backup plan? Say if music wasn't really a thing.
I was when I was studying music, I also was teaching on the side. At one point, I was working at a school and I was teaching 30 kids a week. It was like brutal.
Like
piano.
Really?
Holy.
So I didn't really like that, but I know that I do love teaching actually, like seeing improvement. Like I've been with some kids for years.
Wow.
I still have one kid out of that.
Really?
And he's 12 now, just starting high school. I started with him when he was 4.
Holy.
Yeah, man.
Is he disgusting at piano now?
Ridiculous.
Oh my god.
He's insane. He plays looking at me. So I'll be like, learn this song, hands separately, first page. I come back 1 week later, 7 days, and he's like, yeah, I learned the whole song, 2 hands. And he's like, watching me playing it. I'm talking like Beethoven, Mozart, like intense
That is
classical
awesome,
stuff.
man.
Really?
But I
And
can't
you've been
drop him because he's so good. It's like I have to keep.
No.
They've tried other teachers when I did live in LA for about a month and a half, and so I wasn't there. So I was like, find a new teacher. And when I came back, they're like, we need you, please, whatever it is,
Really?
whatever
That's
you
amazing, man.
charge.
That's
he
a great
needs you,
feeling.
yeah.
And wow, and you've been with him since he was 4.
Since 4, and he was great. 5, 6 years old.
You're
he was
such a
killing
huge
it.
part of this kid's life.
Yeah,
man.
I am. I'm like his older brother.
His dad.
I'm his father.
His literal father. That's incredible. No,
piano dad.
That is piano dad. That's good. That is That is crazy.
Yeah.
I can only imagine
Very
as well.
fulfilling.
Like, what if that's exactly what it is. How fulfilling would that be?
It's great. I always feel so hyper. I feel like a kid after these lessons because like
He just is like he blows you away every time.
yeah. Every time.
Wow.
No, without it, I'm like every time I leave, it's like your son's incredible.
And
you don't even
That
need
is
me.
awesome,
He's teaching
man.
me. I'm making mistakes.
Really?
Yeah, big time. I don't practice anymore, unfortunately. I just kind of like use it to produce.
But you've been doing it for 21 years. I mean, like I'm sure. Yes, like practicing.
I think it was school that really got me to be like, I'm done.
And that was it for you.
It's when in jazz school, it's kind of like this elitist vibe going on where
Is
like
it?
you want to be better than it's just like weekly performances at the auditorium and like you want to be better than the next guy.
yeah.
You do. So I was like locked in practice rooms 4 or 5 hours a day.
Really?
my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
So your fingers bled.
It was bad. Yeah.
You get stumps for hands.
Stumps. It's blistering.
Christ. And that was
Wow.
like every week you would go and perform
I mean, I think they either chose you or you were part of a combo, like a band, and you would do like jazz standards, and you would
Really?
have to solo and stuff like that. So the soloing culture, I would call it a culture. Like you have to
Just-
solo and improvise and
Yeah,
make
yeah,
it
yeah.
sound good. And
Would you be like, were amongst the people that you went to school with, were you one of the better players, would you say?
no,
Really?
definitely not. Definitely
Really?
not.
Really?
I'm never. Like as much as I said that I was practicing 4 or 5 hours a day, there were guys practicing 8 hours a day, and I also didn't really
dedication.
apply myself. So kind of super ADD in school, man. Like always wanted to do my own thing, always making beats on the side.
Right.
Just managed to get by it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think playing piano for so many years, I just naturally developed a good ear. So I was always nailing my ear training. Like I never had to practice for ear training, stuff like that. It was always very.
Do you have
Basic.
a near perfect pitch or like a perfect pitch? No.
No.
But you.
I would say perfect relative pitch.
That's
Because
Yeah.
that school honed that for me as well.
Really,
perfect
eh?
relative pitch. So you sing a note, I could definitely tell you
the
the
fifth
interval,
or whatever, yeah.
5th, 6th.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Interesting.
really
Yeah,
cool.
it's
That's
cool.
useful.
It's not very useful. Definitely, I can hear 808s frequencies really well.
That's fun.
Well, that's wrong.
Because that's always hard. You got to pitch it up a couple
yeah.
octaves.
Yeah. I still do that. Still.
Yeah.
I and I'm truly not saying this to toot my own horn. Truly, believe me. What a silly expression, toot my own horn.
Toot it.
But I feel like I've been told as well that I have a good kind of ear for hearing things.
Oh, yeah,
like
do
that.
you? Yeah, do you?
Tell
Yeah.
us.
I do.
You got a good ear?
I have a fantastic
Yeah.
ear, let me tell you. Possibly better than yours, Jay.
We'll have to see.
No.
Piano off. perhaps.
But I know exactly what you mean. Where you hear the 808 frequency, like no, yeah,
Right.
like it's quite funny sometimes when you're explaining it to somebody like no, but like it just has to be this. Like it just
Right.
kind of sounds like it just I kind of see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I just kind of hear it that way. And you said that school kind of helped you kind of hone that in a little bit.
Yeah, it helped me just kind of just hearing intervals and chords and progressions and knowing what's consonant and what's dissonant. I think that really helped me to be like, oh no, you want dissonance, which is like, you can say dissonance is like two wrong notes, like a C and a C sharp.
Right.
Obviously doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
But
in context, it sounds great sometimes.
Do that and then resolve to a consonant, which is like a major chord, then you can say it sounds nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's all that theory stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever
Certainly
that is.
none of us know about. Putting us to shame.
Which
here.
MIDI file does that
Sometimes,
come
to
in?
be honest, sometimes I wish I never knew.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting because
It's
I hear that people like it kind of sometimes boxes them in,
Big time, man.
but not for you. Do you find that it does?
I find that I gravitate towards a certain sound, and I think it's very melodic and harmonic based. But
Gotcha.
I feel like there's so many records that I love, big records. I don't know whether it's the mix is bad or not, but like, the 808's off, the melody's weird, and it just works. It's just so good.
Yeah.
I think Don Toliver After Party.
Yeah.
There's like that weird little
Yeah.
melody that doesn't work but works.
Yeah.
It's like stuff
I've
like
had this
that.
conversation with someone about specifically that
song.
Yeah.
Right. It's sick. That song.
Yeah, it's funny how like you might hear something differently than I would hear it or Nick would hear it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You because of your training, you're like, oh no, that can't be.
But
the
I'm
case.
learning to be kind of like more liberal
Dude,
with
but
it. Be like, if it does work, it needs to sound weird.
Right.
I feel like you're still very good at obviously creating melodies on the spot. I used to work with this guy. He was kind of same thing, like since he was like 2 years old, been playing piano, crazy classical piano player, amazing producer, but he wasn't ever writing the chords. It was all like he was in a band, and the guy that would play the guitar, he would write the chord because this guy he couldn't write his own things. It was so many years of following sheet music and playing other people's music that he just couldn't come up with his own.
Really?
He's like, I need something in front of me to look at. I can't just like sit down and play something.
When you do it too much, reading sheet music, definitely it gets kind of like, I don't want to say fearful, but like you don't want to do something of your own because it's not something that you're used to following or reading.
Yeah.
You have to stay away from that.
That is very interesting.
Would you say like the improvisation and jazz in school, that's what probably helped you have your own creativity, I guess?
Yeah. I think I was always like making beats and making my own little progressions, and then I feel like the more you just do anything, you just kind of get better. You get more like sure of yourself, more confident that it sounds cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is mad interesting. I've heard about like these like improvisation little bits where they're like, oh, you got to make it like super sick and just off top of your head, and I can only imagine how like daunting that must be.
We used to have to do it in high school. I played the baritone, and like
I think you told me
we had to improvise, and they would just be like, here, you guys know the scale, the B flat minor scale,
the
whatever
chords in the song, you have to follow the chords.
and and he's like, it was obviously not on the level you were, because I barely even knew how to read the music, but he'd just be like, improvise, and I'd pick like 5 notes and just keep going in any order, whatever, between
one note and just do it in a different rhythm. It sounds good.
It's technically a solo. That's what they always
piano
used to
improvising
say.
is tough because you have to use your left hand to do the chords and comp it, and then your right hand's doing the. So I was always so tough for me. I'd be like, ugh,
I want to.
Like
that is interesting. I want to pivot away from music for a second. Sure. Let's talk about Schwartz's
deadly
smoke meat.
At one point, it was not the best.
Would you say it's
spot.
still the best in Montreal?
I gotta say, unfortunately, it is.
Why unfortunate?
Because it's so like
it's so typical.
It's so classic, and they got all the pictures. Like Seinfeld's been there, and like Celine Dion, like everyone's been there. So of course you gotta say it's the best. But at one point, Lester's smoke meat was.
I've heard Lester's
was across the street, and hands down, way better sandwich.
Really?
Wow.
And it was across the street, no lineups, no anything, and you see lineups down the street, Schwartz's, because it's a tourist attraction.
Yeah, of course, you gotta go to.
It's also the experience too. You sit there.
They're rude to you.
They throw the plate at you.
Yeah, they're like, take it.
Mustard everywhere. It's
That's
smelly
awesome,
in there.
though.
It's a great vibe.
It's interesting.
Classic Montreal spot. You love it. I saw your Instagram pictures. You just zoom
that
in.
and Saint Viateur bagels.
Oh yeah, Saint Viateur.
I gotta get out to Montreal.
You've
man.
been?
I haven't been there. I haven't been there since I was 18.
It's great.
Oh wow, that was
It's great.
6 years ago? 5 years ago?
5 years.
Yeah,
5
give
years
me
ago.
a break, brother.
But I didn't go for music. I've never gone to do music there.
I could literally get lost in Montreal for a week and just not do music at all.
Well, you went down with all those guys, all those other producers.
Yeah, I went with a
That's
bunch of
fun.
producers,
That's
but
great.
like we stuck to one thing. We hung out there.
Did you make a lot of beats though?
6 over the course of the week.
Okay.
Like maybe 5 or
just
6.
vibing, yeah.
Oh yeah, but like we were out enjoying the time. Like,
Yeah, it's a kind of vacay. Get out of Toronto.
yeah, and it's like such a weird thing. Like it really is so different than being in Toronto, and it's such a beautiful city.
Yeah, it's definitely got its nice parts.
Yeah, I was.
You were in old Montreal too.
Yeah.
Old Port.
It's fantastic there.
So nice.
It is great. I'm glad that we settled the Schwartz's thing because I had a bit of an argument with somebody about that.
What were they saying? Is
Lesher still around?
No, I don't think so.
Somebody told me about some other place. They were like, it's way better.
The main.
No, it wasn't
No?
that. Let's discuss this.
Let's get to the bottom of this.
I brought
I
up
don't know.
when I was at Schwartz's, I was like, yeah, but you guys got to try Katz, and the guy heard me. He's like, don't you ever say
Katz's
that.
Deli, like in
New York. He was like, don't you ever say that. He's like, we're way better than Katz. And I was like, bye, Joe.
I don't feel like New York does the smoked meat sandwiches like Montreal at all. They're known for their Reubens, and
Yes.
but the smoked meat is definitely cured differently in Montreal. And
It's so good, and the
rye
bagels
bread.
with a little honey, like that's what makes them. Ooh, don't get me started
don't
on
get
this.
started on the bagels.
Do not
I
get
need
me
to. I
started.
need to go do. All
I know.
this.
I get so excited when I talk
go.
about Montreal.
I have a spare room in the apartment. Just
I'm
waiting.
coming.
Speaking of New York City, do you travel often, or before COVID at least? Were you traveling?
You know what? I could say that traveling was the best thing to happen in my life.
Yeah, me
best
too.
thing to happen. Yeah.
Were you
Why?
like? Did you go to LA a lot or New
I
York?
think it started for me. LA came later, but I had connected so random. I can't believe I'm saying this. I connected with Daniel Day-Lewis's son on Twitter.
What?
Oh my god.
Years ago, because he was doing music.
Really?
And I think I watched like a Daniel Day-Lewis movie, and I was like, "This guy's fire." And I don't know how I got on Twitter, and I was like talking to his son.
That's
his son's super
amazing,
cool.
bro.
And then his son posted on Instagram, GK, and he's like, "I'm in Montreal for 24 hours." So I'm like, "Yo, pull up to the studio," and he came.
He did.
He came, and we bonded. We had a great session.
Oh my god,
Seriously.
that's
And
awesome.
he's like, "Bro, you are so dope. Come to New York," because he lived in New York. He's like, "Come to New York, work on my album with me." So
What kind of music is he making?
It's like pop music.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like
Sick though.
What's his name? Daniel Knight Lewis?
No.
Oh
Gabriel
my God.
Kane, Day Lewis.
What is it?
Gabriel Kane.
Gabriel Kane
Yeah.
Day Lewis.
Yeah.
Wow. So you
Sick guy, great
so you
guy.
go to New York.
So I go to New York, and and I'm in New York, and I get this like rinky dinky little Airbnb in
same,
Harlem.
yeah.
And it's like all alone. Like it was great. And I remember, so the morning that we had to do this, the studio, he texted me and he goes, "Yo, I'm so hungover, I can't come to the session." He had a party the night before, and he's
Of
like,
course.
"Go to the studio and just like use the time, like chill with the engineer." And this was no regular studio. This was Premier Studios. This is
Oh my
like
God.
the bougiest of studios.
Jeez.
And I go into the
So you're, like,
studio and I
sick.
sit down with the engineer. Shout out Gonzalo, who's the homie now.
This is
Nice.
the engineer.
This is the engineer of the session. This guy killing it. All right, kills it. And I sit down with him. I start pop up my laptop. He's listening to beats. He goes, "Yo, these beats are sick. Like, come to my house tomorrow after the session, and we'll just jam." And then shout out Gonzalo. I met so many cool people through him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome,
And
man.
I worked in the Hit Factory with him in Florida. He brought
Jeez.
me to a session there. I was working with all these Dominican guys.
Really?
Yeah, it was so dope.
That is such a
Fuck,
that
that's
is
And we're
awesome.
still in contact now.
that is
He's my
quite
bro.
the roller coaster of a
See,
story.
connections,
Connections
people.
that come out of nowhere. You got to just go for it.
Wow.
You got to just get out there.
That is such a testament for like just being like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. Like
Yeah.
I just got to do it.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
knew I had to do it.
Because like yeah, for first of all, at the start, you hitting up the Daniel Day-Lewis's son,
On Twitter, yeah.
and then
Didn't think anything
That's
of
you
it.
just like rolling the dice.
Well,
Whatever. I'll
whatever.
shoot him a message.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's it.
and then he comes to Montreal.
Yeah.
You end up linking him.
Yeah, he's a model. So he was in here.
course
He
he
was
is.
shooting for Simon's Maison Simon.
Of
It's
course.
Like
Yeah.
but I also knew he did music, so he's like in Montreal for 24 hours. So I hit him on the DMs, and he had told me that he never checks his DMs, but he was in the airport waiting for it and saw my message right away and was like, "Sure, I'm down."
Wow.
Oh
I
my
told him I had to come
God.
to the studio.
Wow. And so you
Yeah.
link with him, you create a relationship.
Yeah.
You end up in New York kind
Yeah.
of. Did
A
you
few
ever see him in
times.
that New York trip?
Well, yeah, I worked with them.
Yeah, you
Oh,
came by the studio.
right.
Came to the studio,
He
so
ended up-
we had
yeah.
booked a bunch of times in that
Yeah,
studio.
yeah.
Right. It wasn't just the one day.
Exactly. And then, it was just New York where I worked with him. And
Do you
through-
still work on stuff with him?
I don't think right now.
Yeah.
No.
But then you met the engineer.
Met the engineer.
You jam with this guy.
Yeah.
He tells you to come up to Florida, right? Hit
That
Factory?
that was later though.
But like as a result of literally one
as a
DM,
result. Yeah.
you're like
Go to
the
New York
butterf-
and then to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like the butterfly expands.
Yeah.
From
And then-
literally one DM.
You came out to LA. What the first time we met? Is that when you were there for 6 weeks? Or did you?
That was not
did
my
you
first
come?
time. I was there.
No,
few
the
times.
first time we met.
Yeah, that was in January, right?
That was the long trip.
That was my long trip.
Was it January? No,
No, sorry, February.
No, before.
January 16th, I left. Oh, before. Oh, yeah,
2019.
December. So that's when I came with Dan, and we stayed a week.
That's okay. That's
in
what it
November.
was.
That's where I think we met.
Yes, that's where we met the first, and then when you came down the second, that's when we really started to work. Yeah, that's right.
Do you know a lot of people down in LA to work with?
Yeah, definitely. I got to shout out my management team as well. They're like,
Who's that?
they're called How Are You?
Good.
How Are You Entertainment. Yeah, I love that.
That is awesome.
And so it's 3 partners, 3 managers. 2 live in Montreal, 1 lives in LA. And building connections, building networks, and trying to just book sessions as much as we can. I'm so fortunate to have met so many dope ass people in LA. So many dope creatives.
Yeah,
I find that the writing style, I can't say style, just the writers that you find in LA are just like top. They're so good.
Yeah, they are fantastic.
Like pound for pound, so good. So and I feel like you get good writing, you don't even need production at that point. You can spice it up, but like it's just the song is so good.
Yeah.
I'm just like happy to be a part of it. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
I 100% agree with that.
Yep.
That's interesting. So when this do you have any plans to move to LA, or are you content staying in Montreal?
I had a plan of getting a 1-year visa. And moving to LA in May, I had a whole room set up for me as well.
Really?
Yeah, in like Koreatown. I was just going to do it. I was just going to go there for 1 year.
Yep.
I had, I have the money saved. Just going to bite the bullet and do it. But COVID.
of course.
Screwed it all up.
Maybe next year then, hey?
Maybe next year.
Yeah, it's kind of the same situation with me.
Right.
I was like so prepped, and I was like, let's go. And
Yeah, yours was coming like April.
I got my visa.
You have it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so annoying.
Are you able to extend it?
It's 3 years.
Oh, you got the 01.
I got the 01.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
Well, that's solid.
technically I don't have to right now. If this continues for longer than I can anticipate.
Just sucks that now you're wasting the time. It's
But
unfortunate.
Am I wrong? I heard that it really starts when you first cross the border.
I have no idea.
Do you know
I think
anything?
I was told that maybe you have to be there first to get it.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No?
You get it here.
You get it here.
I did everything I did here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But I was surprised that I even got mine because it was such a COVID was at its peak. I got mine in like July or like June.
You're the worst. I've been waiting like almost
It's
2
so
years.
tough to get that visa, though. It's
I
crazy.
know. I got it
I
so
got it
quick.
so fast.
Wow.
I got it so fast. It was. It might have been like a literal 2-month turnaround.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I swear to God,
Wow.
it was so fast, and they were just like, yeah, like here's your papers. Like you just need to go to the airport and get your passport and Nexus stamped, and
Nice.
you're good. So I've yet to do that because I have no need to travel. So
Yeah.
I mean, I might as well just go and get it. Like there's nothing
Yeah,
stopping
yeah.
me. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
I was there. I was in Airbnb when I was there for a little over a month. I was staying at some homie's house. I was sleeping on their couch. So shout out those guys too, Kendo and Shweez. They are the
Shout out Kendo and Shweez.
Kendo and Shweez. Those are my
Shweezy.
guys.
Shweez.
Sherwin, Ashley, amazing writer, artist, incredible.
Wow.
And those guys really looked out for me, man. Like I had met them in Montreal. So for that girl's son, her management set something up with them and got them over to Montreal, and we all worked in Montreal on her music.
Right.
And I guess we connected. And the next time I went to LA, it was just like,
See
love.
the value of connections.
It's everything.
We can only say it so much.
Mhm.
It's so important. I tell people,
Yep.
the industry is 80% connections and 20% music.
Yeah, you got to let it happen organically.
Yes,
You
and
gotta
that's
just let it come to
it.
you.
You can't just every day imagine you message Daniel Day-Lewis's son every day. Hey. Like I'm sure that
didn't
he
work.
would have seen your DM
Yeah.
at the airport and be like, oh fuck this guy.
Yeah.
But like for you to have done it like organically, naturally. Hey, come chill. Like we're doing like.
It was random. I wasn't going to blow him up. It wasn't even like that.
Of course.
But like
I don't-
somebody else might have. You know what
I'm
I'm saying?
sure people do. I'm
Yeah,
sure people
exactly.
do.
So that's the thing. Like, it has to be like a natural, like an organic relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I truly believe in everything that will happen. Like, that's supposed to happen will happen.
Yeah.
So, like, for me to like try and like force something, I'm not about that because I'm like, okay, well, if it's the moment, it'll be right, and if not, that's it. Like,
I heard stories though, great success stories where someone would tweet, at Mike Dean or at
Yeah.
Teddy Riley or someone like that, and they'll be like, "Bet, come to the studio."
oh yeah,
and life's changed.
yeah, oh yeah.
So
But that's like I've cold DM'd people.
Yeah.
And been like, hey, here's my stuff, but I'm not gonna every day be like, hey, check me out, hey, dude, like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But
a lot of people will do that.
yeah, be like, oh, why didn't you respond? Oh, this and
you
like,
can't get butthurt about that.
No.
You got to just if you feel like in the moment you want to do it, if you have something prepared, if you got the ammo, send out that
it.
quote,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you don't know what might happen.
Oh,
It's always worth it.
You would be surprised at how many responses I've got over DMs where I'm like, there's no way I'm getting a response. But I'm like, here's a quick bio. Here's a Dropbox link of some stuff. Just that's it. Like, if you want to take a listen, it's up to you. And I've gotten like literally so many great responses from people that I'm like, wow, like this is serious.
That's great, because I know there's a lot of producers out there that they came up too. Yeah. They know the value of coming up and having value and knowing that you want to show the world that, so people give you a chance.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I feel like in this business, so many people have beats. You can make beats on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, so if you want to make music, you kind of have to show your worth somehow first.
It's like what's different.
Yeah, or like
what makes you you?
What makes you you?
Yeah.
Kind of like, I wouldn't, if I had 0 posts on my Instagram or something like that, I would feel a little more hesitant to send someone my work, because maybe they'll check you out and they'll be like, well, what
the fuck? Yeah.
What can you offer me?
Yeah, like
if I'm gonna spend my time with you, I feel like so many people value their time.
Yeah, which is why, like, when people are like, I'm deleting all my Instagram posts and I'm starting again, or they only have like one post up of like some cryptic dark picture, and
it's like coming soon.
Yeah, and they hit me up. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about you, and
Right.
if you just hit me saying, hey, let me send you some shit or check me out, I'm like, what is there to check out? Like,
Right.
I'm looking at an empty page.
Right.
Like, yes, I could check your Spotify, but I still don't know anything about you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now you're not that I'm saying I'm not going to respond, but you're making it a lot harder for me to kind of judge whether or not it's worth my time.
The music really needs to blow you away.
Yes, the more onus is on the music.
Yeah.
If you come in my DMs and I could tell like you have a vibrant page and like whatever, you seem like a fire person.
Yeah.
I will be more inclined to like chop it up with you,
Yep.
even if I think, oh, the music's kind of mid right now. In my, like, obviously it's subjective music, but if I'm like, oh, maybe not what I'm really into working on right now, but I will still be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll talk to you, because like you came at me in a good way, and I could see that you have a good page. But you're right, the music has to infinitely more speak for itself if you want to keep an empty page type situation.
Yep.
For sure. It's interesting that way, for sure. But yeah, like that's the value of sending out like just a random cold DM. Or whatever the case is, or just sending a tweet.
Like, I gotta do that more often.
Yeah, this guy. We always talk about it. Like every time you bring it up, you're like, I gotta do it more.
But I feel like also once you have
really
once you have your team, your circle, and you guys have momentum, then there's, I mean, you might not feel a need to reach out to anyone.
No.
Just kind of work.
You kind of have to like, it's tiered. I would say like you're at your current capacity. You work on that. Some things open up. You kind of progress.
Branch off.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's very important. Like you don't want to bite off more than you can chew.
Exactly.
I've been in situations. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because then you're spread too thin.
I feel like in times where I've been I've bitten off more than I can chew, I end up getting none of it done.
Yeah, because you just kind of like, oh, I have no motivation because
you're just stressed about it.
Yeah, you're just like so stressed. You're like, oh, I literally just can't even focus.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I do this, that means I'm taking time away from that, and like it's nice to have like a small group of things. You're absolutely right, and just like focus on that.
Yep.
And then slowly branch out as things open up, instead of being like, well, I'm just going to do it all now.
Exactly.
Like, well,
I think it's good to have deadlines as well, because it gives me motivation and inspiration. I feel like you can't just get. It's hard to just like get inspired. Like when I'm driving and I'm inspired while driving, and then I race home because I got to get this idea out. The moment I sit down, it's like it's not there.
Yeah.
I feel like inspiration comes when you just do it and work.
Yeah.
On the music. So I don't know. You don't want to force that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Any other questions?
I think that was a really good conversation.
It was good.
Yeah.
I think that there was that story. I think a lot of people are going to love.
Yeah. The fact that
I think that's a fantastic like success story, or like a
Yeah.
success story. Whether or not like, in terms of like, you just networked your way from
where I
Just what
was
it's
a
trickled
few
off
years
to,
ago
yeah.
to now. So when I left the studio that I was working at, I actually got a job at Costco. I needed a job. I had rent to pay.
Costco.
And I hate to say it, I got fired for lack of passion at Costco.
How do you get fired from a
Oh
lack
my
of,
God.
It
What,
was
you're
just-
passionate about putting shit on the shelves, or like what?
People are very passionate when they're working at Costco. I mean, great benefits.
Yeah, that's true.
It's actually a good job to
Yeah.
have. So, but lack of passion. It was also a fully French staff, and I was like the English guy.
You're like, hey guys, and
Yeah,
they're like,
they're like,
mon
I didn't
Dieu.
fit the mold there.
Yeah.
But I can't lie. I had just gotten my own studio about 5 days after I got hired. So that's why after 3 months, I was probably always thinking about. I was always going to the studio right after. And
it was just always on. You were never like in the moment.
Exactly. So I feel like the moment that they canned me, I like sat in my car and I had an epiphany that I was like, okay, now I literally need to make 10 beats a day, and work like crazy.
Wow.
And I honestly, just after about a year of doing that, I worked with these songwriters. Shout out Mandy and Tally.
Shout out Mandy and Tally.
Yeah,
Is that
Heartbeat?
Yeah.
Heartbeat. Amazing writers, fantastic writers.
Fire.
They're a lot of fun.
I worked with them. We wrote like 4 songs a week every week for like 50 weeks.
Fire.
It's crazy.
So
we
you
have
like
so much in the vault.
Crazy stockpile.
And that was
Crazy.
the last job you
They
had.
they weren't necessarily good. They're like the mixes were terrible and the
But you
production.
were,
it's
but you were
important to
getting
get
it
them
out
out.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it's important to have them, and then like maybe in a year from now you look back and you're like, oh, I'd like to take this idea.
Exactly.
Like,
That's always good too, to go back to your beats and you can fix them up. That's why I always say I'm going to do with these songs.
Costco was the last job you had.
Costco was 2016,
There you go.
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Shout out
There you go.
Costco though for real.
Shout out Costco.
Shout out Costco for
Gave
being
you
such a
that
damn
epiphany.
good little.
I know.
Like it's a great
And
little
now
grocery
it's
store.
on. I still feel like I have a lot more I want to do and accomplish, but you know I'm not teaching piano anymore.
Get that out of
And
here.
I'm making music
Full time.
full time,
There you go.
and I love
Nice.
it. I love it.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. I think, but Montreal's a great place to make music, man. First of all, cheap rent,
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
bloody cheap.
bloody cheap.
It's fantastic. I know
Great.
friends that are like, I might just move to Montreal because I'm gonna save
Worth
money to like go to LA or like whatever.
I
Worth it.
just thought I was just yesterday talking to Eric about possibly doing a 2-week LA trip, super safe, just with like 3 different people and just locking.
I'd
in.
do that.
But now now I'm a little scared because I saw the numbers and stuff. So I was
Right.
like,
It's going
maybe
back
not.
into the phase.
So I think instead I'll just
something.
shoot out to Montreal for a week or
Do
something.
it. So we're trying to set up a camp up north in the Laurentians. It's called. It's a really nice like. It's up north, like where the mountains, like country vibes.
Yeah.
And we want to rent a place out there 3-4 weeks.
Legend.
Yeah.
Oh my
few
God,
rooms,
man.
And just go back and forth. Have people from all over Canada come.
How
That
close
sounds
is that
incredible.
to like this?
You can about 45 to an hour.
Oh wow.
Yeah, very close.
Really?
Easy. Yeah.
You don't say.
Yep.
Oh,
I feel like that's what you guys should have done
I know.
when you came with instead
It-
of
it
the
was
old
all-
Montreal.
I know.
I mean, you guys saved a bunch with Airbnbs are so cheap during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you guys would have loved to be out on a lake or something.
Is it the Laurentian Mountains? Is that what you're saying?
Laurentian Mountains? Yeah.
And it's
So like Tremblant, it's an
Yeah,
hour
yeah,
and a half. You can go to Saint Sever. You can go to Mont Saint Hilaire.
is there a lot of Airbnbs there?
Yeah, there's chalets. I think it's a different. I don't know if it's Airbnb. I
Right.
think it's a different app where it's like for chalets.
Interesting.
You know,
That's interesting for people in Canada. They're looking to maybe get away for a bit.
I think they're for sure pricier than Airbnbs in the city because people want to get out.
Of
you know,
course,
they want to
of
leave.
course.
That's
Weird
so
time.
interesting.
Weird time we're living in.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
say.
man. I want to. We were just talking to a grant writer and how there's a grant for that he was
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to get for going out to a cottage and making music. It's like a music creation grant.
Oh, that's great.
that you can get money that just pays for
We are
that
so
stuff.
lucky to be Canadian that we have.
I
these.
know, man.
It
It's
is
really
true. We are very lucky
It's
to
really
be Canadian.
true.
There are
Yeah.
so many resources offered to Canadians that
great.
I truly am very grateful.
Yeah.
Big budget in the arts.
Yeah.
Government budget.
Yeah,
in the arts.
I have to be thankful for that.
Mhm. As producers, yeah.
Yeah, and then to help artists that I work with as well.
Yep.
To be like, hey, there's money for you here. There's
Look
resources.
at Daniel Caesar got his
Exact-
first album was a Factor grant
Yeah.
and shot him off.
Look at that.
Crazy.
Great music prevails.
Always. And
Always.
great Canadians prevail.
Of course.
Let's all together now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Imagine we sang the whole bloody thing.
This is for our Canadian
Oh
viewers.
man.
Yeah, this was our most CanCon podcast yet.
Oh man, we need someone to come on the podcast just to explain CanCon.
I don't even know.
Canadian content.
It is
Canadian
so.
content.
But it's like if the song is more than 50% Canadian, you have a better chance at getting it on the radio, and
Oh,
you can
wow,
apply for
really?
this and this. Yeah, bro, it's like they have great programs. It's just so confusing to understand. Dre knows a bunch about it, or he pretends to, because every time I ask him, he gives me a short explanation. Still can't understand it.
Rich.
Whatever.
For another time, though.
Another time. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, man.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Jay.
having me. This is great.
We're
Legend.
gonna go to the studio now,
Yeah.
and you're not.
You guys are going to go
dates.
work. I'm not invited. That's
No.
okay. Jay, drop your socials.
Oh yes.
Okay. At Jay Century.
JayCentury.
Great. That's the only social I got. I plan to
Instagram.
that's Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
I want to start doing like Twitch.
Yeah.
And I have all these, but it's a lot.
How original.
It's a
Being on
lot
your
of work,
phone.
bro.
I'm already on, I feel like I'm on my phone already. As is.
My screen time is, it says
Dude.
it was down 17% for 6 hours and 45 minutes
Out
a
of
day.
control on the same.
I'm like,
Oh my
brother, am I that bad?
I have my Instagram set to like a 2.5 hour limit that I ignore
every time.
every single time.
Ignore for
but,
the day.
But it's just so I know,
Yeah,
like,
how
damn it,
fucked we are.
it's 3 p.m. and I've hit 2.5 hours on Instagram.
I'm
This
a
is
big
fucked.
gamer though. I'm on my phone a lot playing. I'm a big phone gamer. Call of Duty Mobile.
Oh, don't even talk. I'm just going to end it here. Thank you so much for Jay coming by. At least he's good at production because God knows gaming on your phone is the worst.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, drop a comment, share it with your friends.
Thoughts in Stereo everywhere.
Have a great day or night or evening or afternoon or morning, wherever the hell you are in the world. We love you.
Peace.
Peace.